Join Kids Hut Stories.
Hey everyone, welcome to Kids Hut Stories. Today's story is the tale of a son, a father, and a stone that holds a powerful lesson. Let's start.
One day a son questioned his father, "Daddy, what is the value of my life?" His father handed him a stone and replied, "My son, if you wish to discover the worth of your life, take this stone and head to the market. If someone inquires about its price, remain silent and show 2 fingers." The boy complied with his father's guidance and proceeded to the market. After a while, an elderly woman came up to him and asked, "What is the value of this stone?" The boy stayed quiet and raised 2 fingers. The woman assumed $2 and attempted to pay. The boy, taken aback, hurried to his father and recounted the incident of the old woman in the market offering $2 for the stone. His father instructed him, "Son, now go to the museum. If anyone inquires about the price, keep quiet and show 2 fingers." The son complied and went to the museum. After around 20 minutes, a well-dressed middle-aged man approached and inquired, "Sir, what is the value of this stone?" Once again, the boy stayed silent and displayed 2 fingers. The man exclaimed, $200. "I will buy it." Fearful and anxious, the boy hurried back to his father, revealing that the man at the museum was interested in purchasing the stone for $200. The father then directed his son to head to a stone market. If anyone inquires about the price, keep quiet and show 2 fingers. With excitement bubbling inside him, the son rushed to the market, located a stone shop, and entered. An elderly man was positioned behind the counter, and upon catching sight of the stone, he leaped up in astonishment, declaring, "My goodness, I have searched for this stone my whole life. What are you asking for it? How much is it?" Without uttering a word, the boy raised 2 fingers. The old man proposed $20,000 for the stone, leaving the boy absolutely stunned. He quickly went back to his father, announcing, "Dad, the elderly gentleman offered me $20,000 for the stone." With a smile, the father responded, "Look, son, someone who understands the value of a stone has offered you the highest amount because he recognizes its true worth. The same goes for your life. You determine its value. You can decide to be a $2 stone or a $20,000 stone. You have the power to determine the worth of your own life. Keep in mind that there are loved ones for whom you are everything, and there are others who may see you as a commodity, not understanding your true value."
Remember, it is within our power to define our worth and cultivate relationships with those who value and respect us. Do not allow others to dictate your value. Take the lead and unleash the untapped potential within you. If you enjoyed the story, share this video with your friends and family.
Ever wonder what the secret to success is? In our last video, we shrunk down to the size of an ant for an incredible adventure. This time the journey is even more exciting. We're going to learn a powerful lesson from a wise old grandpa about what it truly takes to be successful. Let's start the story.
Once a child came to visit his grandfather during his summer holidays. He used to play with his grandpa all the time. One day he said to his grandpa, "When I grow up, I want to become a really successful man. Can you tell me some ways to be successful?" Grandfather nodded, "Yes," and took the boy with him to a nearby nursery. From nursery, his grandpa bought 2 small plants and came back home. Then, he planted one plant in a pot and kept it inside the house. And planted another one outside the house. He asked the boy, "What do you think? Which of these 2 plants will grow better in future?" Boy kept thinking for some time and then said, "The plant inside the house will grow better because it is safe from every danger. While a plant outside is at risk of many things, like strong sunlight, storms, animals, etc. Grandfather smiled and said, "Let's see what happens in future." After that, Boy left with his parents. After 4 years, Boy came to visit his grandfather again. When the boy saw his grandfather, he said, "Grandpa, last time I asked you some ways to be successful, but you did not tell me anything. But this time you have to tell me." Grandfather smiled and said, "Sure, but first, let's take a look at plants that we bought a few years back." Saying this, Grandfather took the boy to a place where he had planted a small plant in a pot. They saw that the plant had turned into a tree. Then he took the boy to look at the plant which they had planted outside. There, they saw that a huge tree stood with its branches spread far and wide, providing shade to passers-by. Now, Grandfather looked at the boy and asked, "Tell me which plant grew more, and which is more successful." The boy replied, "The one we planted outside." "But Grandpa, how is this possible? That plant must have faced so many dangers. Still, it grew so big." Grandfather smiled and said, "Yes, the plant outside had to face many things, but dealing with problems had its benefits too. The plant outside had the freedom to spread its roots as much as they wanted. Problems like storms made its roots stronger. Today, it is so strong that a small storm cannot cause any harm to it. Son, what I am about to tell you is very important, so always remember it. Then you will be successful in whatever you do in life. If you always make comfortable choices, then you will not be able to grow as much as you can. If you are ready to face this world despite all the dangers, then no goal is impossible for you to achieve. Never think of problems as hurdles, but think of them as steps toward success." The boy took a long breath and stared at the tree. He understood his grandpa's words that obstacles which we consider enemies in life, the same obstacles make us stronger and more successful in life. Similarly, our life is like a great adventure filled with twists and turns that might seem like obstacles blocking our path, but guess what? These obstacles are like puzzles waiting to be solved. Just think about when you play a game, the fun part is figuring out how to overcome challenges. Life works the same way, each hurdle you face is a chance to learn, grow and become even stronger. So, don't let these roadblocks discourage you. Embrace them, tackle them and watch yourself level up in the game of life. You've got the skills, determination and spirit to conquer anything that comes your way. Hope you gain some value from this story and try to implement it in your life and always keep rising.
Hey Story Explorers! Welcome back to Kids Hut Stories. Today, we're diving into a tale as bright as a cherry lollipop and just as sweet, the story of Little Red Riding Hood. This time, we're going on an adventure filled with danger, bravery, and maybe even a few giggles. So, grab your teddy bears, snuggle in tight, and get ready to meet a little girl named Little Red Riding Hood, who's about to embark on a journey through the Whispering Woods. Let's start.
Once upon a time there was a little girl, who lived deep in a village nestled by a whispering forest. Her grandma had gifted her a beautifully crafted red cloak with a big red hood. Every time she went outside, she would wear this red frock. So, everyone in the village called her Little Red Riding Hood. One bright sunny day, Little Red Riding Hood's mother said to her, "Grandma isn't feeling well. Will you take this basket of food through the forest to her cottage?" "Yes, mother, I always love to see Grandma," said Little Red Riding Hood. She put on her red cloak and she pulled up her red hood. Then she took the basket of food and started to leave. "Remember," her mother said loudly, "don't talk to any strangers on your way to Grandma's cottage." "Don't worry, Mom. I shall be careful," Little Red Riding Hood promised to her mother and embarked on her journey into the woods. She knew the forest path to Grandma's house very well, so she did not have to worry about getting lost in the forest. Along the way, she saw some beautiful wild flowers growing near the path. Grandma would really adore these flowers, she said to herself, and stopped there to pick a few. While she was looking at the flowers, someone said in a deep growling voice, "Hello, little girl." Little Red Riding Hood was very startled. She turned around and saw a big bad wolf standing in the shadows between two trees. She said hello to the wolf, as she didn't know that the wolf was bad and she had forgotten her mother's words about not talking to strangers. "Where are you going on this fine day?" asked the big bad wolf. "I'm going to my grandma's cottage that is across the forest behind the hill," said Little Red Riding Hood. "She isn't feeling very well, so I'm bringing her this basket of food and these flowers." "What a sweet girl you are," said the big bad wolf, as he smiled and showed his mouth full of sharp teeth. The big bad wolf was quite hungry, but he was not interested in the basket of food. "I should better be going, so goodbye," said Little Red Riding Hood and went on her way. The big bad wolf's stomach grumbled and growled with hunger, but he had an idea in his mind, a really wicked idea. He quickly ran through the forest all the way behind hill to the grandma's cottage. The sneaky wolf opened the door very quietly and found Grandma asleep in her bed. He picked up the old woman, opened his great big mouth and swallowed old Grandma in one gulp. Then the big bad wolf climbed into the bed and pulled the blanket up to his chin. He put on Grandma's glasses and her night camp and anxiously waited for the little girl to arrive. When Little Red Riding Hood arrived at the cottage, she opened the door quietly and found Grandma lying in bed. She said, "Hello Grandma, how are you? Mother told me you weren't feeling well, so I brought some food and some flowers." "What a sweet little girl you are," said the wolf in his fake grandma voice. "Come closer to me, my dear." Little Red Riding Hood took a step closer and she noticed that something looked a little different about Grandma. She asked, "Grandma, what big eyes you have." "All the better to see you, my dear, come closer to me," said the big bad wolf. Little Red Riding Hood took another step closer to the bed and said in a shocking voice, "What big ears you have, Grandma." "All the better to hear you, my dear, come closer to me," replied the wolf. Little Red Riding Hood took one more step closer, and asked again, "Oh Grandma, what big teeth do you have?" She said in surprise, "All the better to eat you with." The big bad wolf jumped out of the bed growling and opened his great big mouth. Little Red Riding Hood shrieked and tried to run. She was crying out loud, "Help, help, help," but the hungry wolf grabbed her up and tried to swallow her just like the grandma in one gulp. Luckily, a woodsman happened to be walking through the forest, just outside the cottage, when he heard Little Red Riding Hood's cries for help. The woodsman hurried inside and attacked the wolf. The wolf left the girl and tried to run, but he fell down on the floor. As he fell down, Grandma came tumbling out of the wolf's mouth. The woodsman hit the wolf with his axe and chased the wolf out of the cottage, out of the forest and over the hill. The big bad wolf ran for his life and was never seen again. Little Red Riding Hood learned her lesson and she never ever talked to strangers again.
Whoa, that was a close call for Little Red Riding Hood. So friends, what can we learn from her adventure? First, always listen to your parents' advice. They know what's best to keep you safe. Second, be cautious of strangers. Not everyone with a friendly smile has good intentions. Third, sometimes, even the smallest voice can be heard. Never give up hope, and don't be afraid to call for help. Now that you've heard Little Red Riding Hood's story, share it with your friends so they can learn and enjoy the story.
Join Kids Hut Stories.
Once upon a time, in a sunny meadow, there lived a hard-working ant and a happy-go-lucky grasshopper. All summer long, the ant was very busy. He would wake up early every day, gather food, and store it in his cozy little home. The ant knew that winter would come, and he wanted to be ready. Meanwhile, the grasshopper loved to sing and dance. He spent his days hopping around, playing his violin, and enjoying the warm sunshine. One day, as the ant was carrying a heavy load of food, the grasshopper saw him and laughed. "Why are you working so hard, ant?" asked the grasshopper. "Come and play with me. The weather is beautiful, and there's plenty of food everywhere." The ant shook his head and smiled. "I'm getting ready for winter," he said. "When it's cold and snowy, there won't be any food. I need to make sure I have enough to eat." But the grasshopper didn't listen. He continued to play and sing, while the ant worked and worked. Days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into months. Soon, summer was over, and autumn leaves began to fall. One chilly day, the grasshopper woke up shivering. He realized that winter was near. The grasshopper went to look for food, but there was nothing to be found. All the plants were bare, and the ground was covered in frost. Hungry and cold, the grasshopper remembered the hard-working ant. He hopped over to the ant's house and knocked on the door. "Please, ant," he begged. "I'm very hungry and cold. Can you share some of your food with me?" "Grasshopper," he said kindly, "all summer long I worked hard while you played. I saved enough food for myself. If I share it with you, I might not have enough to last through the winter." The grasshopper felt sad and understood that he should have worked hard like the ant. The ant shared a little food with the grasshopper and invited him to stay for a while. The grasshopper promised that next summer, he would work hard and be prepared for the winter too. And so, the ant and the grasshopper learned an important lesson. It's good to have fun, but it's also very important to work hard and be prepared for the future.
Today's story is all about kindness and how a simple act of generosity can have a ripple effect for years to come. So, let's start.
Once upon a time there lived a young boy who was very poor. He did odd jobs to be able to buy his daily food and go to school. One day after school, the boy was very hungry. He said to himself, "I don't have any money today, and I have no job lined up till the night. How will I make it through the day? Maybe I should just have some water to fill my stomach." So the boy decided to ask one of the houses in the neighborhood for a glass of water. He knocked on the neighbor's door and a young girl opened the door. The boy said, "I am very thirsty, can you please give me a glass of water?" "Yes, wait a minute," said the girl. The girl saw the boy's condition and realized how hungry he was. So, instead of a glass of water she brought him a glass of milk. The boy was really surprised to see the milk. He said, "I cannot take this, because I do not have any money to pay you for it." "It's okay. You don't have to pay me for it," said the girl. The boy was very shocked and excited. He thanked the girl and drank the glass of milk. He felt a lot better immediately. He thanked her again and went his way. Wow, what a kind girl. Just a simple glass of milk made a big difference in that hungry boy's day. But kindness is a two-way street, and sometimes good deeds come back to you in unexpected ways. Let's see what happens next. Many years went by. One day the same girl, who was now a woman, fell very ill. She was taken to the hospital. The tests revealed that she had a rare kind of disease that would need great care for many months. Dr. Philip was assigned to take care of her case. Dr. Philip met the girl and excitedly said to her, "Don't worry, we will take care of you." As he promised, Dr. Philip took great care of her. He visited her daily, stayed by her bedside at nights and made sure that she was always comfortable. After 6 months of intensive treatment in the hospital, the girl was finally well and could go home. But now she was little tense and worried. She called the nurse to her room and said, "I am healthy now, but I am worried. It is time for me to pay the hospital bill, but I am afraid I won't have enough money to do so." The nurse smiled and happily said, "Oh, you don't need to worry about it, your bill has already been paid." "What? By whom?" the girl asked curiously. The nurse said, "Have a look yourself at the bill." The girl was astonished as the bill was cancelled across and it was written in big bold letters. "Paid in full years ago with a glass of milk." It was signed by Dr. Phillips. The girl couldn't believe her luck. Dr. Phillips was the same young boy that she had helped many years ago. Today, the boy had become a doctor and saved her life. So never hesitate from helping others. You never know how your one good deed can turn into another good one. Remember, even the smallest act of kindness can have a big impact on someone's life. Just like a tiny seed can grow into a mighty tree, a kind gesture can blossom into something truly wonderful. What do you think about this story, friends? Have you ever done something kind that came back to you in a good way? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories and fun learning.